we have with us Mr. Baijayant Panda, four-time MP and Odisha BJP's Lok Sabha candidate from Kendrapara. Mr. Panda wears many hats. He is BJP's National Vice President, the National Spokesperson, and recently he was made the election in charge of Uttar Pradesh. He also holds a charge in charge of Delhi, Assam and Mahila Morcha. Welcome to ThePrint, sir. Sir, you are returning to Kendrapara after 5 years. In 2019, you lost to a political greenhorn, Anubhav Mohanty. How confident are you this time, and what has changed on the ground from 2019 to now?
I have never been away from Kendrapara. Even for the last 5 years, I have been regularly visiting Kendrapara. I have made it my karma bhumi for a very long time, and I have always stood with the people of Kendrapara in their times of need, whether there is cyclone, whether there is any other crisis. I have also assisted many hundreds, in fact thousands of people from Kendrapara who have got into difficulties in other places in India or abroad. So I've never been away. Now, if you look at the 2019 election results, when I contested for the first time from BJP, we had an increase of 400% in the vote share. Earlier, the BJP used to get approximately 1 lakh votes for the Lok Sabha election in Kendrapara. Last time, we got just under 5 lakh votes. That was a huge vote of confidence in the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in the BJP, and I suppose some degree of affection for me. Now, the opponent was not really the issue. It was the BJD's prestige fight. It is the only example where the Odisha Chief Minister himself camped for several days in a constituency, which has not happened in 25 years. Also, there was extreme misuse of the administration, which this time, I believe, they will not be allowed to get away with because of the extra scrutiny that the authorities and the Election Commission have on this. Now, apart from that, in 2024, there is an enormous wave in favor of Prime Minister Modi's leadership and in the BJP. The whole country, and Odisha is no exception and Kendrapara is no exception, have seen the transformation of India in the last 10 years, and they are extremely committed to the idea that Modi ji must become our Prime Minister for the third term, in which the pace of reforms and development will redouble in the next 5 years in order to achieve the goals of a developed Bharat within this next generation.
Sir, you have been recently made in charge of Uttar Pradesh. It's a challenging role. So how do you divide your time, and how are you able to campaign here and manage Uttar Pradesh at the same time?
Uttar Pradesh, of course, is the single largest state in the country, accounting for mammoth 80 seats. The reality is that the Modi government has brought about such transformation in the lives of people, and the double-engine Sarkar in Uttar Pradesh, led by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji, has also transformed the law and order situation, and there is this renewed focus on development in Uttar Pradesh, that there is a huge wave in support of us. Now, this has been strategized over the past decade by one of our foremost leaders, Amit Shah ji, who was party president and in charge of Uttar Pradesh earlier, and now, of course, Home Minister. What I see in Uttar Pradesh is that we just have to make sure that we don't make mistakes, and we are not. The huge wave of support means that we will set a new record. We are targeting all 80 seats. In terms of coordinating my work as election prabhari or in charge for Uttar Pradesh, the party has given me 3 senior leaders as co-prabharis, saha-prabharis, co-in-charges, who are handling the different regions of Uttar Pradesh, and I'm in constant touch with them. But of course, I will have to balance my time between those responsibilities and contesting my own election.
So, a realistic figure that BJP is looking at Odisha, both Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. A realistic figure in terms of how many seats you are looking at winning out of 21 in the Lok Sabha and out of 147 in the Assembly.
Look, I'm going to say that when a wave starts, people often get very surprised at the humongous results that come out, which nobody expects. I'll give you two examples. In 2014 and 2019, generally the media had an impression that yes, the BJP led by Prime Minister Modi is going to do very well, but nobody expected that we'll get a full majority for the first time in 30 years in 2014. And in 19, remember, so many in the media used to say that, well, BJP will just scrape through or it'll have to be a coalition. But we increased the vote share to 303. Now remember, Uttar Pradesh in 2014, who in their wildest imaginations ever expected 73 seats? And in 2019, despite the two other largest parties in Uttar Pradesh coming into a coalition against BJP, we still won 64 out of 80 seats. And this time there is not that coalition. So similarly, in Odisha, last time we saw a quantum leap. We went from 1 seat in the Lok Sabha to 8 seats. And this time we are going to see a massive uptick. And I think the sky is the limit, because you've seen various surveys which started a few months ago saying that we'll win 12 or 13 or 14 seats. Now there are surveys and other feedback which says we'll win 15, 16, 18 seats. Who knows where it can reach, because there is momentum and there is enormous support for Prime Minister Modi's leadership.
Sir, in an assembly election, when people go out to vote, they generally look for a CM face. Who is BJP CM face in Odisha?
Look, we have won many elections as a party with a clear national leadership, but the state leadership evolves. Now, you've seen we won recently state elections in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh. So I think we have defied this conventional wisdom that you are referring to, that there must necessarily be a face. In BJP Odisha, we have several very prominent faces, and the BJP as a party is committed to the idea of internal democracy. The Prime Minister himself has come up from being a humble party worker to being the most popular leader on earth. Similarly, you've seen examples in many other states where ordinary party workers who have slogged and have acquired experience and have contributed to the election results have been given important responsibilities. So I don't think that is a critical issue. The critical issue is the developmental agenda of the BJP has, lakhs and crores of people, including most people in Odisha, have been benefited by the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, by the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, getting pakka housing, by drinking water from piped drinking water in their own homes. Now they realize that these are all Modi government yojanas, and earlier they were being hijacked by the state government with putting their own stickers on it, but these are Modi government yojanas. People realize that. And there are some important yojanas that are not yet implemented in Odisha. For example, the world's largest health scheme, Ayushman Bharat, which grants 5 lakh rupees health expenditure to every family every year for medical emergencies, is not available in Odisha. So people want these benefits, they are craving for it. And the final thing I'm going to say is that there is tremendous anti-incumbency here against the incumbent party because they've been in power for 24 years and Odisha hasn't developed in the way that it should have, having this kind of political stability.
Sir, I was traveling on the ground for the last 1 week. So one thing while talking to people I came across was there's not much resonance of Ram Temple here. So Ram Temple is one of the poll planks of the BJP. So does it, do you think, affect the BJP's prospect here? The
BJP doesn't have any one poll plank. As I have said a bit earlier, the BJP stands for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. And you see that everywhere. Irrespective of caste, creed, religion, every section of society is getting uplifted. That is how 250 million people have been lifted out of poverty by the Modi government, by the BJP NDA government. Now, the Ram Temple, of course, is a matter of great pride. It has come about after 500 years of struggle after the demolition of the original Ram Temple. I disagree with you that there is not that degree of enthusiasm. Let me put it this way. Now, in Odisha, the presiding deity, as it were, is Mahaprabhu Jagannath, and there is an enormous influence that devotion to Lord Jagannath has on Odia society. And I think that is why some people misread the situation. But there is no contradiction here, because taking pride in the Jagannath culture and taking pride in the pran pratishtha of the new rebuilt Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, they are not contradictions in each other. So I'll explain something to you. On the day of the pran pratishtha, on January 22nd, if you were in Odisha, you would have seen the enormous enthusiasm all over. You would have seen that in every village, in remote areas, massive enthusiasm, bhajans, kirtans, and watching the live pran pratishtha. So I would suggest in the coming few days, you're going to see on Ram Navami an equal degree of enthusiasm. So you should take a look at that, and I think you'll realize that that also is a huge strength for the BJP.
So there was this talk of a BJP-BJD alliance. What went wrong? And in the run-up to the election, don't you think it ended up confusing the workers?
I think it ended up confusing the media more than anybody else. Let me put it this way. The BJD was founded with assistance from the BJP back in 1997, and the day after its founding, an alliance with BJP had been announced, and the alliance lasted 11 odd years, after which the alliance was broken. And in the meantime, the BJP has steadily grown. It used to be a distant third in Odisha, but in the last election cycle, the BJP became a close number 2 to the BJD, and we won 8 seats for the first time. Now, within the last 5 years, we have kept on steadily growing, and particularly in the last 5 or 6 months, our graph has gone up dramatically, while the incumbents' graph has been hit very hard by anti-incumbency. Yes, I think there was a lot of outreach from the other side to try and have an alliance with us, to try and save a sinking ship. But that doesn't make sense when we are on such an upward trajectory with such huge enthusiasm among the people at large, and of course among our party karyakartas. Now, there was a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and genuine confusion being spread online and among media. I think that is where there was some talk that it might confuse people, but that's not the case. It was very clearly stipulated that we are not agreeing to any alliance, and we are going it on our own. And you can see the enthusiasm of the karyakartas out there in the field.
So there has been a string of resignation of senior leaders from BJD, the latest being Mr. Bhartuhari Mehta, the Lok Sabha MP. What do you think is going on in BJD? What's wrong?
The BJD, I think, is being badly damaged by many aspects. One of the key questions that the party is facing and the people of Odisha are grappling with is Naveen Patnaik has been Chief Minister for 24 years. And now that another election cycle has come upon us, the question is, who is his successor? Who is the, as in Odia people keep asking, Uttaradhikari? And that question is causing them huge damage. No matter how they try to dance their way around it, people are not happy. And within the BJD itself, there has been a long track record of chopping off the heads of anybody whose popularity rose. The long series, it started from almost day one with the denial of a ticket to Shri Vijay Mahapatra, with the unceremonious sacking very unfairly of Shri Nalini Mahanti. You saw what happened to Dilip Rai, Ramkrishna Patnaik, my own experience, and thereafter many others. The humiliation that is given to senior leaders who have made a name for themselves in BJD is rankling, and there is widespread resentment against that. So they have an internal contradiction which somehow or the other they have managed, but you can't do that forever, and that reality is tearing the BJD apart today.
Who do you see as Naveen Patnaik's successor in Odisha?
Well, I don't think it's much of a surprise that for the last, about 9 years or so, there was a bureaucrat, IS officer, Shri Pandian, who has been his principal secretary, who was running the show behind the scenes. All of Odisha knows it. In fact, all of India knows it. He was running in an unconstitutional fashion, both the government, overruling many, many senior civil servants, and also the party itself. Now, he has recently taken VRS and he has come directly into the forefront. And he's, for all intents and purposes, in charge of the BJD, deciding on tickets, collecting funds, distributing funds. So the widespread understanding or belief is that he is the successor. But Naveen Patnaik has to clarify. This is a question that the people of Odisha keep on asking repeatedly, because none of the leadership has been allowed to grow beyond a point to take the BJD forward into the next generation, into the next era. So this is a question that the people of Odisha are asking repeatedly, and there is no answer to it. So that's a question for Naveen Patnaik and BJD to answer, who the successor is.
Mr. Patnaik is one of the few chief ministers in the country who has bucked the anti-incumbency trend. He continues to be in power for close to 25 years. So what makes Naveen Patnaik so enduring to years? What is the reason for his durability?
That's a very good question, because you have to keep in mind that when the BJD was formed with the active assistance of the BJP back in 1997, Naveen Patnaik was a novice. He had never been in politics. He just had his legendary father, Biju Patnaik's goodwill. But the first dozen years of that alliance was under the guardianship of the late Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji and senior leader L.K. Advani ji, and the constant management and hand-holding by the late Pramod Mahajan ji. And it helped the BJD survive, because the BJD in fact went through enormous stormy seas in the first few years. The party had split in 2002. Many people had quit. There was rebellion against Naveen Patnaik's leadership. So it was due to Atal ji's, Advani ji's guardianship that he got established and the party got established. And then the BJP was backstabbed by their breaking off from the alliance. Now, once you create a base on the basis of somebody else's assistance and goodwill and support, then it becomes easier to take it forward with money power, muscle power, and so many other traditional tricks. Now, the point is that has led to almost a quarter century of governance here. And Odisha has not seen the kind of development it should have seen. See what Prime Minister Modi ji has achieved for India in just 10 years. We've gone from being the 11th largest economy to the 5th largest economy, clearly on our way to being the 3rd largest economy in Modi ji's 3rd term. But the same cannot be said of Odisha. It was at the bottom. It should have come far above the average on all counts. In 25 years, it should have come to the top 5 of developed states in India. And that's not the case. It's far from the case. You see millions of Odias are still working outside Odisha, many of them in very hard conditions, in blue-collar type of work. And even those who are qualified, IT engineers, doctors, are mostly outside Odisha. They all want opportunities back here, which they don't get. So I think every story has a phase, and I think this story has outlived its shelf life.
So Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he came to Odisha recently, praised Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. He called him a good Chief Minister. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has also praised Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik in the past. When both the Prime Minister and Home Minister are praising Mr. Naveen Patnaik, how do you seek a mandate for yourself and against him?
Look, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has, right from the beginning, articulated the idea of cooperative federalism, because there are unfair allegations against the BJP NDA government, whereas the allocations to the states have been increased, and the Prime Minister makes it a point. For example, in the COVID crisis, India shone in the world because we rolled out the world's largest and fastest vaccination campaign, helped so many other countries. But he always, from the beginning, held conferences with all the chief ministers, including from other parties, and had them on board and carried them along so that the implementation at the ground would not be affected, irrespective of who was running the state government. So it is the nature of statesmanship to come and speak, not to speak ill of a sitting chief minister in the spirit of cooperative federalism. But election campaigns are very brutal and very frank, and I think you will see on the election trail real blunt truths to be spoken. There's another aspect. I mean, the BJD has been supportive of some aspects of the national agenda, such as passing bills in the Rajya Sabha. But ultimately, the BJP is committed to governing the state of Odisha to the same high standards to which we have seen Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh and other states being governed, which is today far from the case under the BJD.
Sir, ab ki baar 400 par, how realistic a target is it?
It's actually very realistic. You know, again, I'll remind you, there was this misinformation and disinformation, especially in 2019, where a lot of the media repeatedly kept saying that the BJP will just sort of limp across the finish line, it will have a reduced majority, there'll have to be coalitions, and it was far from the case. We got a much improved and increased mandate from the people of India for Modi ji's leadership. Now, this time that effect is redoubled because look at the opposition. I mean, there's a meme going on out there about who is their dulha, and there is no answer for that. There's, you know, they are just totally different kinds of entities who are trying to come together to save their families because they are dynastic parties, to protect themselves from prosecution against corruption. So they are not going to stick very well. So let me give you an example. This time in Uttar Pradesh, we are going to set a new record, far higher than the 73 seats that we won in 2014. In Assam, we had won 9 seats last time. This time we'll win more. In Bengal, we are going to win quite a few more seats. In Odisha, we are going to increase quite a few more seats. In Gujarat, we are going to sweep. In Rajasthan, we are going to sweep. In the south, we are going to open our accounts in states like Kerala, and we are going to do very well and not only open our accounts, pick up multiple seats in Tamil Nadu, in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana. This is how we will get to 400 par, including, of course, the NDA allies.
So the Congress has been deterring from announcing its candidate from the Raebareli constituency. So is the BJP waiting for the Congress to announce before announcing its own candidate?
No, the BJP, being the single largest political party in the history of humankind and also democratic, has a very detailed consultation system in identifying the best candidate. We take feedback from the district level, at the state level, important feedback from senior leaders, surveys, and many other aspects. And of course, there are several seats which stand out, which are very contentious or which we have never won in the past, where a lot of detailed planning is necessary. And that's not just the case in Raebareli. It's the case in quite a few seats which are which we need to put extra attention on. So we are not dependent on what some other party does or doesn't do. But you rightly pointed out that the Congress is dithering on Raebareli. You know, after their crown prince lost in Amethi, the Congress's raison d'etre has been cracked wide open. If the leaders of the party have to resort to going to Rajya Sabha to avoid facing the public, or to go to a place where they have no roots just because there is a certain demographics which will elect them for their very anti-governance, anti-development, anti-Bharat type of stand, that's a different issue. So I think it exposes their very, very serious internal weakness. The BJP will put up very strong candidate in Raebareli, and this time we will win it.
So despite winning at the centre twice in 2014, 2019 and having governments in several states, a success somehow eludes BJP in Delhi. What's the reason?
Actually, that's not true because in both the 2014 and the 2019 elections, we won all 7 MP seats in Delhi. And we have multiple times governed the municipal council. And in the assembly elections, we have gained quite a bit. Yes, you're right, in the assembly we haven't won for quite some time. But I think the last municipal elections about a year and a half ago showed something very interesting. Whereas most people had given us hardly ability to win 50 or 55 seats, we won 104. And most importantly, the vote share has gone up. Our vote share, even in the local elections, which was lower than other parties, has now gone up to 40% in the last cycle, this time more. And in the Lok Sabha, in 2019, we won 56% of the popular vote. This time we will win more than 60% and we will again sweep.
So do you think this AAP and Congress coming together in an alliance in Delhi, is it going to impact BJP's prospects in Delhi?
Do you think if a party wins 60% of the vote share, all others coming together will have an impact? The simple answer is no. And both AAP and Congress are extremely discredited. AAP has been exposed as a highly corrupt party. Its senior leaders have been in jail for now a year and a half or more. The chief minister has been arrested. He has made a travesty of the so-called India Against Corruption campaign, which launched him into politics. He has lied repeatedly, done U-turns repeatedly, and now caught red-handed. People of Delhi are coming to understand.
AAP leaders are saying that the centre targeting Arvind Kejriwal is because they are rattled by his governance model.
Look, the fact that Mr. Kejriwal is in jail is not because of the BJP or the government. It is because a court has looked at the evidence and said there is enough prima facie strong evidence to not give him bail. So they call that targeting because they represent that old school of politics of corruption being okay, of dynastic politics being okay. It doesn't work. Now, the Prime Minister has made it very clear that corruption was costing the people of India, especially the poor people of India, very, very badly. And the efforts to root out corruption, to prosecute those who are guilty of it will not stop. And one of the lines that Aam Aadmi Party is taking, why during election? Why? You're getting summons for investigation for month after month after month for so many months when election was not on the horizon. You yourself avoided that until High Court refused to give you any further relief and you had to face the music. So these are just vague narratives.
With this, we come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you.